Hello. So, student activists push back against Florida bill that arms teachers. And so, this has been a big issue because let's go into this article. So, this is by a Natalie Gaunt Sharova. And so, this is out of the Refinery 29. So, does that name of the school ring a bell? Does the scene ring a bell? Well, for those of you that don't remember, this is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. So the Republican controlled Florida House of Representatives approved a bill recently that would allow teachers to carry guns on school campuses after emotional debate on Wednesday that reportedly left some lawmakers in tears. So the state Senate has already approved the widely opposed bill, and Governor Ron DeSantis, that is expected to sign it into law. Now, think about your child in school and think about the teachers that you've seen and the teachers you've encountered and other people, friends, neighbors, teachers they've encountered, and children also, kids that are well mannered and kids from kids that aren't as well mannered. And this law now saying that teachers can carry guns in the school. So DeSantis narrowly defeated Andrew Gillum, or should I say Gullum or Gillum? Yeah, Gillum is right. All these names. Well, he ran on a platform of gun reform. This person, Andrew Gillum. So in November of 2018, after a close and contentious race, the decision prompted an immediate and forceful outcry by student activists, including those who have been affected by the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida last February. So, no, 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 tweeted Lauren Hogg. So, an MSD student and one of the organizers of the march of what it was titled March for Our Lives movement, who recently co-wrote and opted in the Miami Herald with fellow activist Ryan Dietsch, so pleading with the governor not to sign the bill. So I refuse to go to school in a state that lets teachers have guns in the classroom. This is not okay. I don't know if I can live in Florida anymore and feel okay going to school. So Emma Gonzalez tweeted in response, listen to the people who are affected by this. Those in the legislature don't know what they're doing to us. So remember all of those students from this school right here, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and the incident that happened in Florida where a student unloaded rounds with a high powered weapon. And here they want to, the very school and the very district, the Republican controlled Florida House of Representatives approved a bill that would allow teachers to carry guns on school campuses after emotional debate on Wednesday that reportedly left some lawmakers in tears. So I'm repeating that because they did this huge turnout of called the March for Our Lives movement, and this is what it results in. Republican-controlled Florida House of Representatives approves a bill that would allow teachers to carry guns on the school campuses. So that's what all of that ended up as a result of. That's what it turned out to be. What they were trying to do, Miss Emma Gonzalez and all of the other students, and not, I will add this in here, when we were students in neighborhoods like South Central, where, you see gang violence and kids would speak out or try to talk about what they've experienced in neighborhoods where you see a lot of shooting, you see a lot of killing. Nobody listened to us. And guess what? The same thing is happening to these students. Nobody's listening to them either. So that's not a surprise, unfortunately. And so, yet they think that by having teachers have guns, it's going to make the school safer. But what about the people who have access to the guns? What if, schools get robbed? People break into schools and they rob schools. So where are the guns going to be held? So maybe they will hold them in a particular place, but somebody's got to know where the keys are and how to access them. And usually schools, they get robbed or broken into by people who usually know the ins and outs of the school. So I just want to add that in there. But anyway, it goes on to say that Emma Gonzalez tweeted in response, listen to the people who are affected by this and those in the legislature don't know what they are doing to us. Well, we as young people back in the 80s and 90s experienced a lot of violence in some neighborhoods. And when you're a person that's a color, African American, in neighborhoods that where it's low income, or maybe you have situations that seem to be a hotbed of crime because of gang activity, your voice is not really heard in those instances. And so I am not unfamiliar with this. So experts, it goes on to say, have repeatedly warned lawmakers that arming teachers has not been shown to prevent school shootings. So a 2013 FBI analysis in 25 school shootings found that none of them were stopped by armed staff. Igor Volsky, founder of Executives Director of Guns Down America, pointed out additionally, in the past 5 years, there have been over 60 publicly reported incidences of mishandling guns at school, according to Giffords. So it's just what I've been saying, that having teachers with guns is a big no-no, because you don't know all of the teachers' life and what's going on. And we've had many teachers that have gotten caught doing things. So do you really want teachers like that to have guns in their possession? And then let's say if it's not teachers that you have to worry about, what if students figure out a way to access the guns if the guns are on campus? What if somebody's using the gun and they don't mean to shoot somebody and they accidentally shoot them? There's a lot of what ifs in this. So it goes on to say it's these incidences of mishandling firearms that Kyra Paro, 19 years old, who graduated from MSD, Marjory Stoneman Douglas, in 2018, fears will disproportionately affect young women and students from marginalized communities, such as what I was talking about. So, in marginalized communities, that is people of color, African American, Black kids, students, or people that are, people of color, people that are in situations that might be low income, and somehow there's always a tragedy when it involves guns. So Paro who confounded Zero USA, an organization led by survivors and youth that aims to prevent gun violence, say that when she was in the 10th grade at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, an older male teacher constantly flirted with her. Wow. So this is pretty much what I was saying could happen if it gets in the wrong hands of certain teachers that shouldn't be having access to guns. So anyway, it goes on to say that he called her hot, and he referred to her as his wife. So the young women are already vulnerable, threats of violence from men whom they have rejected. Put two and two together so you could have a recipe for disaster. Unfortunately, I could see ways of having teachers. I can only see ways of having teachers armed that will lead a coercive control Okay, so Paro told Refinery 29, with minorities and females on campus who are disproportionately affected by power dynamics because of racism and sexism, arming teachers will only lead to more tragedies. Exactly. So, having experienced a teacher being wildly inappropriate, I fear the outcome of other male teachers like him having access to a firearm. We see in the US an increase of women who reject males' advances and are more than likely ultimately killed or threatened with the firearm. So this is Emma Gonzalez's post on Twitter. It says, listen to the people who are affected by this. Those in the legislature don't know what they are doing to us. So this is by Lauren Hogg. No, 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 no. I refuse to go to school in states that lets teachers have guns in the classroom. This is not okay, and I don't know if I can live in Florida anymore. I feel or and feel okay to school to going to school. So she doesn't feel okay. It wouldn't feel right going to school knowing that your teacher our teachers are armed with guns, and then if it happens to be like what I was saying, if it happens to be the wrong instructor, a teacher that tries to sleep with students, tries to sleep with maybe the female staff. I've been at places where the groundskeepers flirt with the female staff, inappropriately. Who has access to the guns? Who's going to get the guns? Who accesses it? Who uses it? Who gets? It sounds like every teacher's going to have a special gun, and it'll be in the classroom somewhere. What if you have some kids that are very rambunctious and get into trouble? They may not have to bring a gun from home if the gun is already in the classroom. The kids know how to access it. They can get the guns from there. Schools get broken into. Guns are there. People know guns are at the school. Now they can get guns from the school, break in the school and get the guns. So these are different things, different scenarios that could happen possibly that could cause more harm than good uh, from, where I'm looking at. It's basically what the Laura Hogg was saying, marginalized students and female students, people of color, African American, Black kids that are in neighborhoods. We've seen gun violence, we've seen violence. Some of us have experienced that. When we wanted our needs met, when we were asking, where are the police, where's security? Yeah, they're nowhere to be found, or not enough staff, is there to help. And you just kind of become callous to it. You get used to the violence, unfortunately. And so this is the kind of thing that's happening, but now it's happening in a different state. But I believe it's happening more widely now. There's been a lot of school shootings. There's been a lot of things that are happening in these schools. So does giving the teachers access to guns or having a gun in the classroom going to make the school more safer, or is it going to make more tragedy? What do you think? Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for listening. What are your thoughts on that's my personal thought? I can see where some people will think, well, if we had more teachers who knew how to use guns, then they can stop the killers that come in and try to harm the staff and the students. What if it's the other way around? The killer or the bad people are actually the people who are in the school. And then if kids have like medical issues or emotional and mental issues, kids can be really smart and crafty. If you're dealing with like another Nicholas Cruz is what his name was, I believe. He's in the classroom. He learns how to access guns. He knows how to shoot them. He'll figure out where the gun is and be using it on other kids. It can happen. There could be end up being more school shootings because of the fact that the guns are there already at the school. You no longer have to bring a gun from home. The gun is at the school. So with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for listening.